Leonard Bernstein, one of the most widely known, widely gifted and widely influential musicians in the history of classical music. As a conductor, he mesmerized orchestras and audiences all over the world.
When Lenny came, everyone woke up and sat up and played their hearts out for him.
He was a man of great spirit. His performances always had tremendous passion and joy.
The audiences completely were drawn into the moment, and he captivated everyone on the stage.
As a composer, not only did Bernstein's West Side Story win over the hearts of one of the largest ever audiences for music, there were also symphonies, concertos, operas, and much more.
Magnified.
Everything he wrote had some exploration, had some kind of depth that he was trying to achieve and trying to find out in himself, in music, in life, in poetry.
As a pianist, Leonard Bernstein dazzled audiences and musicians alike in a very varied repertoire.
Conducting from the piano, a Mozart concerto, Ravel G Major, Rhapsody in Blue.
As a pioneering and gripping educator, with his radio and television programs and his talks that were published on records, Bernstein created a new, enormous audience for classical music, and it was worldwide.
The final claim of those who argue for the New World Symphony as American music is that at the very end of the piece, something like a boogie-woogie bass is heard. Of course, this is nonsense, but no more nonsense than another claim that this bass is really a quote from "I'll be down to get you in a taxi, honey." Well, there you have it.
They brought to young and old alike a real awareness of music and classical music. We could understand it somehow, and he made it real and made it live for us.
But let's not expect it to be American or to point the way for American composers. For that, we must jump a quarter of a century of history, when we will meet Gershwin and Copland and Harris. But that is a whole other discussion.
As an inspirational mentor, Leonard Bernstein exerted a profound and lasting influence on some of the most celebrated of today's conductors and singers.
He loved young people. He loved identifying a spark of ability in young people and being the person that blew the air on that flame to grow.
Getting to know him and having that hero that I had revered since I was 9 or 10 years old be even more generous and more giving was a great validation and a wonderful life lesson as well.
And 33 years after his death, Bernstein's presence is felt as strongly now as it was in his lifetime.
We're sitting here talking about Bernstein now. We're talking as if he's very much alive and his presence is here.
Remembering Leonard Bernstein were bassoonist Martin Gatt, clarinetist Stanley Drucker, conductor Derek Gleason, composer Addie Cohen, double bass player Thomas Martin, baritone Thomas Hampson, conductor Marin Alsop, and double bass player Gerald Newson. some of the people from many countries around the world who were so profoundly inspired by Leonard Bernstein, who was, of course, the voice opening out the world of Dvorak's New World Symphony in one of his recorded talks before. This podcast here is a glimpse into his multifaceted genius that created a larger and more enlightened public for classical music than anyone before him.
You can't execute me. I'm too sick to die.
What do you mean, sick?
Oh, my darling Paquette, she is haunting me yet.
And then the following year, 1957, came one of the most iconic creations in the history of musical theatre, West Side Story. And within all that, he wrote some of the most famous of all love music for two principal characters, Tony and Maria.
It's all based on the Triton. Da 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 Maria.
I've just met a girl named Maria, and sought the